Why do you think they indulge in the kinds of juvenile displays of the sort that are going on just now? I mean, this nonsense around Angela Rayner and, whether she did or didn't cross her legs to distract Boris Johnson, the revelation of an MP, a serving MP, apparently downloading porn on his phone, the back and forth about, who went to which party, who had cake. Can't they get a sense that the people facing cost of living crises, spiking costs for everything around them, real threats to their way of life, and the people supposedly in command of the ship of state are arguing about skirts and cake?
Well, it's not an original point to note that one of the big problems we face in this country and in other similar countries is that politics and politicians have become a professional class. And so what goes on in their own little chambers and amongst their own friends is of far more interest to them than kind of these wider issues. And it's up to us, really, to demand that they get more serious.
I think there's a bit more to it than that. I think the fact is, first of all, the government would be delighted if people stopped talking about cakes and the whole thing went away. And I don't think they want to talk about Angela Rayner's legs. They certainly don't want to talk about porn in the chamber. Neil Parish is leaving, so perhaps we'll stop talking about porn in the chamber quite quickly. So the government doesn't want to talk about any of those things. But the opposition wants to win the next election. And one of the ways in which you win an election is by competing on policies. That seems to be a thing of the past nowadays. And another way is by focusing on what used to be called character. Can you trust this person? And so trying to make out that Boris is an untrustworthy liar and keeping on going on all of that is an attempt by them to win the next general election. I'd rather they were debating policies and people were saying why you should vote for us because this policy isn't working and we'd have a better policy and so on. But it's degenerated into a discussion
but I ask
about
again,
character. But it's a fair point. It's not entirely unfair, if you're in an electoral contest, to talk about the character of the leader and leaders of the opposition, of the party opposite you.
But people are angry.
I understand why they do it.
The general electorate out there are angry. There's a palpable sense of it. And I say again, wouldn't there be some justice? Wouldn't there be some clearing of the air if some of the people who made the decisions that have been proven to be bad decisions would simply acknowledge as much, rather than simply trying to move on straight away to the next problem without, you've got to acknowledge the mistakes of the past.